What never fails to make you tear up or cry?
I'm a member of a 12-step program, and in meetings we give out chips or keychains for different amounts of clean, sober time. After giving out multiple years, 1 year, 6 months, etc., the meeting chair will ask if there's anyone new or coming back, relapsed and is returning to the program, who wants to take a 24-hour chip. When anyone gets up and takes their 24 hours chip, the room invariably gives them the loudest applause and cheers and welcomes them back. The whole room knows how much courage it takes to come back and how scary it can be to get up and walk to the front of the room for that chip. It's such a beautiful thing to see, and it makes me cry every time.
My wedding song. My husband died in an accident a little over 3 years ago, only 5 months after we got married. All I need to hear is the first note of the song and the grief hits hard. One particular patient I had working in a trauma center. 19-year-old girl I'd never seen before, and didn't know at all. She was ejected from a vehicle and then crushed because her boyfriend was trying to show off. I was training new staff, and they were at the end of their training, so I was only in the room to provide supervision and step in if necessary, and I spent the entire trauma holding her hand, on her request, and trying to comfort her and keep her mind off of the injuries to both of her legs. Her last words were spoken directly to me: "This really hurts. Can I go to sleep?" I cried for days after. I've never had a patient's death hit me as hard before or after. Edit. All of your comments and kind words mean so much. You're all wonderful individuals and you deserve hugs.
Fathers who tell their children how proud they are of them.
Watching Fox and the Hound, I was watching the part where she releases Todd with my 5-year-old daughter. Her with a catch on her voice asking why. Me explaining. Her in tears saying she'll take care of him. Now I cry. Every beep time. The scene in Saving Private Ryan when the medic gets shot and dies on the field with the rest of his group, desperately trying to save him. Thinking about how poorly I treated my dad when he was still alive. He was always trying to find things in common with me to connect with me. When I found out he liked something I also liked, I just changed my mind and found it uncool. I looked down on the TV shows he liked and didn't realize until later that he had an awesome taste for quality campy television like The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. and other classics from that era of 90s syndicated television. If I knew him now, he'd be my best friend. I did try to connect with him in the last few years of his life, but he had dementia by then and couldn't follow things I knew he would have found interesting before. His last words to me were, "It hurts," while I held his hand during catheterization on his last trip to the hospital. I was too embarrassed from seeing his beat to offer any true comfort.
Can't Help Falling in Love, Elvis. Was supposed to be the song my sister and her fiancé danced to at her wedding. Instead it was played walking into the church, at his funeral, after he took his own life. My poor sis was so strong that day, but that song still gets us both.
Seeing other people crying in emotional pain makes me sob every time. Edit. Wow, thank you for the awards. Guess this hit a spot with a lot of people.
Whenever my addict daughter gets arrested, 4 times in the last 2 weeks. Whenever I look at a picture of her. Whenever I remember a memory of her when she was little and she was still my angel. Whenever I try to think of something I could do to help her and realize that I've already done everything a parent can do, and it hasn't helped. I cry when it gets cold out, and wonder if she is stuck out the night somewhere, cold and lonely. I cry when I look at her 8-year-old daughter, that my wife and I are raising. I cry a lot lately. Edit. Thank you for the platinum. That's a first.
That scene from The Fresh Prince when Will's dad bails on his trip. Why don't he want me, man? Every time.
The scene in My Girl when she is at Macaulay Culkin's funeral. This going to get buried, but I need to get it off my chest. It's my kids. When they were little, my mom had a brain aneurysm, my dad spiraled into a deep depression and they lost their home and business. At the same time, my mother-in-law has a beep and my in-laws' finances collapsed and they were on the verge of losing their home too. So I worked crazy hard to be everyone's rock. I worked multiple jobs to help out my family. When I wasn't working, I was taking care of them emotionally and physically. I so drained that I didn't have much left to give to my kids. I missed soccer games and school plays and trick-or-treating and first words and countless other things. Thankfully, my wife was there for them. So they got to experience all the good things in childhood. I just wasn't there for it. Even when I was physically present, I was exhausted and cranky. Now they are teenagers and don't want to be around me. I just want to hold their hands, tell them that I love them and do something fun with them, anything at all. I just want to be with them. But my chance to hold them, teach them new things and experience the amazing joys of childhood with them are long gone. It tears me up inside. I'm bawling on the couch right now typing this. Yes, all the work paid off. Amazingly, both my mom and mother-in-law are alive, with physical impairments. My parents lost their house and business, but they're in place that works for them. And my in-laws went through bankruptcy but were able to keep their house. I'm glad it worked out. But beep, it hurts thinking about what I missed.
Goodbyes, doesn't matter what kind, I'll always get teary-eyed.
The end of Homeward Bound. Especially when Shadow says, Peter, you're okay. Like, they went through all of that and almost died multiple times and Shadow was just glad to know Peter was okay. Gets me every time.
Dying pets.
My late partner passed away from leukemia at 38 years old. He hid a letter for me in our room in case he didn't make it. It's the most beautiful and eloquent thing I've ever read. He talks about regretting not being able to see my hair turn gray, or seeing me accomplish my dreams. He gives me permission to fall in love again, be messy, and move forward. The level of support is so encouraging. It's also a heartbreaking read and I've only read it 3 times. I will read it again on the 2-year date of his passing at the end of this month.
Thinking about losing my dog someday. I know it'll happen eventually, but I can't handle the thought of it.
Land Before Time when his mother is giving him the speech. When he's shouting his mother. Oh man, feels.
Thinking of that abandoned little kitten I found. I called him Mortimer. Tried to keep him alive. Bottle feeding him. Keeping him warm, skin to skin. Staying awake through most of the night. Calling in sick day after day to stay with Kitty. Emergency vet scheduling with them saying he probably won't make it. Kitty didn't make it. It's when my oldest cat slowly stalked up to the cat, nudging her nose against Mortimer's head. Mortimer didn't move. Didn't react. I put him in a shoebox with his blanket. So he would not be cold. Buried him and left a little pebble for a tombstone. That was 20 years ago. I'm sorry, Mortimer. I couldn't save you. Edit. Wow. I had absolutely no idea that this would blow up in such a significant way. Thank you, everyone. I am doing my best to reply to each and every individual that commented. There are so many heart-wrenching stories to read. I find solace in knowing that there are so many internet strangers who also do their best to help the most vulnerable creatures we stumble upon in our lives. Thank you all, once again. Be well, be safe.
Apparently reading through this thread. Cripes.
The end of Coco. IDC. How many times I watch it, it hits me every time. Wow, my most upvoted comments are about me crying like a little baby. Lol, at least I know I'm not alone. Strategically placed albums from my youth. If I am half beep and someone begins to play the album Four Cornered Night by Jets to Brazil, I will become uncharacteristically nostalgic, and then openly sob at the idea of how good I was at being 18 years old, versus how beep I am at being 38 years old. Getting old is weird.
Zuko and Iroh's reunion in the finale of Atla.
I literally am physically incapable of reading this poem without shedding a tear, and #X200B, greater than do not stand at my grave and weep I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry, I am not there. I did not die.